Okay, try and picture this for a second. You're living in a world where, well, almost everyone you know, maybe like 80, even over 90% of them, they've got scars from some major injury.
Mm.
We're talking fractured skulls, limbs that have been shattered, ribs clearly busted and healed up.
Yeah.
And this isn't, from some random fall. This is the picture we're getting from new evidence just from 2024, looking at Neanderthal skeletons. It shows this brutal daily reality of just trying to get food.
It really does.
Yeah.
These weren't just accidents.
No, they were like occupational hazards, right? The risk you took because if you failed at the hunt, well, that meant starvation. Simple as that.
It's a stark image, isn't it? And what's really fascinating, I think, is how this whole reality, this, brutal but also ingenious hunting life, it didn't just shape our bodies, our physical evolution.
Right.
It went deeper. It shaped our social structures, even how we think. And these recent discoveries, they're really turning some old ideas, some long-held myths, completely on their head.
Okay, so that's what we want to dive into today. Let's try and really understand what it meant to be a prehistoric hunter. What's the legacy, the deep legacy that's left for us? How does it connect back to you listening right now?
Exactly.
And speaking of that relentless survival stuff, the sources mention some pretty shocking things about Neanderthal childhood, the difficulties they face.
You really do. There's isotopic analysis.
Yeah.
Basically, it shows something like 3/4. A huge majority of Neanderthal kids went through periods of prolonged malnutrition.
Wow, 3/4.
Yeah, it just highlights those constant, feast or famine cycles that really define their existence. Life was precarious. And, beyond just the physical struggle, another thing that's really come out in 2024 is how it completely blows up that old stereotype, the men hunted, women gathered idea that, well, frankly, many of us were taught.
Okay, that's huge. So what's the actual evidence telling us now about women's roles in hunting?
Well, the evidence is pretty clear. You look at the fossil records, the injuries women sustained,
The same kind of injuries.
exactly the same. Major trauma, healed fractures, the works, just like the men. And then you look at grave goods, too, the tools buried with them. It all points to them using the same weapons and being right there, participating equally in these incredibly dangerous hunts. It wasn't some secondary thing for them.
No, it sounds absolutely central.
Absolutely central to survival for the whole group.
I can't imagine the level of danger involved, day in, day out. Was there anything that maybe helped? Any technology that made it a little less, well, deadly?
There was, actually.
Yeah.
A really key piece of tech was the atlot.
The spear thrower, right.
Exactly, the spear thrower. Such an ingenious device. It basically acts like an extension of your arm, letting you throw a spear or dart way harder and faster.
How fast are you talking?
Up to maybe 90 miles per hour. So it meant you could hunt effectively from a safer distance.
Okay.
It sort of acted as an equalizer, Both men and women could project serious force. Now, don't get me wrong, hunting was still incredibly dangerous.
Oh, I bet. Still facing down mammoths or giant bison.
Right. But the atlot maybe reduced the need for that immediate close quarters confrontation quite as often. Still perilous, though.
So with these big, dangerous animals, even with the atlot, you'd imagine the coordination needed. It must have been immense. What does the archaeology show us about how they pulled that off?
It's pretty astonishing, actually. We have sites, places in Poland, in Mexico, that show evidence of highly organized mammoth ambushes.
Organized how?
Well, we're talking sophisticated traps, maybe driving animals into a kill zone, evidence of simultaneous attacks.
Yeah.
It implies real planning.
Wow.
Clear communication, even if not verbal as we know it, and just sheer courage from everyone involved. It paints a picture of highly intelligent, cooperative groups.
That's really, yeah, mind-boggling. So, okay, different groups, different times. They must have had varied strategies, right? Not everyone just ambushed mammoths.
Oh, absolutely. A whole spectrum of approaches. For instance, you have what's called persistence hunting.
Persistence hunting, what's that? It's fascinating. It relies on something humans are uniquely good at. Endurance running and regulating body heat. Sweating. Basically, humans could track and run prey, maybe smaller antelope or something, literally to the point of exhaustion over hours and hours.
Just run them down.
Essentially, yeah. Covering incredible distances. It's a real testament to our physical evolution for endurance.
Okay, so that works for maybe smaller or medium game. But yeah, back to the big stuff. The mammoths, cave bears.
Yeah.
That needed something else entirely.
Precisely. You can't just run a mammoth down. For that kind of large game, you needed those elaborate traps we talked about. Ambushes, complex group tactics. It required a really high level of strategic thinking and cooperation.
And the Neanderthals, you mentioned their injuries. Did they have a preferred style?
It seems so. Their injury patterns, the high rates of head and upper body trauma, they suggest Neanderthals often favored, or perhaps ended up in, very direct, close-range confrontations, using thrusting spears.
Up close and personal. Very. Which, as you said, explains those injury patterns being so similar to uh, modern rodeo riders. It's quite a jarring comparison, isn't it?
It really is. It just drives home the sheer constant risk.
Absolutely. When I first read that comparison, it really stuck with me. The danger level was just off the charts.
Yet, despite that incredibly high-risk strategy, Neanderthals thrived for a huge amount of time, didn't they?
They did, an incredibly long time, something like 200,000 years or more, which is amazing, really.
That's all what eventually happened.
Well, their decline was likely, a mix of things. Climate shifts playing a big role, maybe competition with arriving modern human groups, possibly disease, even just chance, bad luck. It wasn't one single thing.
Right, a complex picture.
But their success for so long, given their apparent hunting methods, really speaks volumes about their resilience and skill.
And the intelligence behind all these strategies. It wasn't just physical, was it? What kind of thinking does this imply?
Oh, definitely not just physical. The level of intelligence required was immense. Tracking, for example, it wasn't just following footprints.
No.
It was like being a master detective. Interpreting tiny signs in the environment, droppings, sure, but also disturbed vegetation, maybe broken twigs, understanding the wind.
Reading the landscape.
Exactly. Predicting where an animal would go, anticipating its behavior, and then coordinating all of this, often silently, with the rest of your hunting party. That requires serious spatial reasoning, planning, communication. It's thought this pressure might have been a key driver in the evolution of the human brain itself.
It's incredible to think how those survival needs literally shaped our minds, but
Yeah.
there's a downside to being so good at hunting, isn't there? A sort of ironic consequence.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
An incredible skill honed over millennia. Well, it likely played a significant role in the extinction of many large animals, the megafauna, around the world.
How so?
As humans spread into new continents, like the Americas or Australia, they encountered large animals that hadn't co-evolved with such sophisticated predators. Humans were so efficient that they seem to have overhunted many species, especially those that reproduce slowly.
So we basically hunted them out of existence.
In many cases, it seems that way.
Yeah.
It drastically altered ecosystems. It's a pretty powerful and maybe sobering reminder of our species' impact, even way back then.
Okay, so bring this all back to us now. We watch survival shows, maybe do tough fitness challenges, but could any of us, modern humans, actually do this? Could we survive as prehistoric hunters?
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? And I think the answer is, well, physical ability alone would get you almost nowhere.
Really?
The real challenge, I suspect, wasn't just the physical demands, immense as they were. It was the mindset.
The minds.
The sheer volume of survival knowledge needed. Knowing the plants, the animals, the seasons, how to make tools, shelter, fire. And beyond that, the psychological resilience. Living with constant uncertainty, constant risk, periods of real scarcity. That's a level of mental toughness that's hard for us to truly grasp today.
So it's not just about what they did, but about the traits they evolved because they did it?
Exactly. Think about what was selected for over hundreds of thousands of years. Endurance, obviously, incredible throwing accuracy, but also, crucially, cooperation. The ability to work together seamlessly. And maybe surprisingly, compassion.
Compassion. How do we know that?
Well, the skeletal evidence again. We find individuals who survived for years with debilitating injuries that would have made it impossible for them to hunt or fend for themselves.
So someone must have been caring for them.
Precisely. Even when resources were likely incredibly scarce, they took care of their injured and vulnerable members. That tells you something profound about their social bonds, doesn't it? It wasn't just survival of the absolute fittest individual, but the survival of the supportive group.
That paints a very different picture than the sort of brutish caveman stereotype.
Completely different. It shows how deeply interconnected our physical evolution, our intelligence, and our social evolution really were. They all developed together, driven by the pressures of this hunting lifestyle.
So the legacy isn't just that our species managed to survive physically.
Not at all. I think the enduring legacy of prehistoric hunting is far richer than that. It's in those deep social bonds we formed. It's in our ingenuity, our ability to solve problems under pressure, and that fundamental cooperative spirit that I believe is still deeply embedded in what it means to be human today. And, new discoveries are always shedding more light on this foundational period. We're constantly learning more, refining the picture. It's an ongoing story.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Thinking about that ancient mindset, that resilience, that deep-seated cooperation born out of necessity. What parts of that spirit might still be, I don't know, dormant within us today? And in our modern world, with our own unique challenges, what would it mean for you to maybe tap into that incredible, enduring human legacy?